What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and it's good to see you. Good evening. Happy Tuesday evening to you. And certainly praying that you're having a phenomenal week. It's just Tuesday. And I feel like I say this every single week, that I say it's just Tuesday and it feels like it's Friday. But it does. It has been an insanely busy 48 hours for me. But I pray that you are having a fantastic week so far, and that your week is off really to a great start. I am just so grateful to be here and so grateful for all of you for tuning in. Now, we've got to get going because I'm ready to continue with part 2 of this awesome series. But before we do, you know the drill. I need you to like, share this video right now, this live feed. I need you to do it. I need you to invite somebody to church or wherever you are watching, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. I need you to invite somebody to church this evening. And tell them to tune in for what will be, again, another very powerful message, part 2 of this series. And we are really dealing with something that I think is near and dear to the hearts of many. And that is that you're weird or different. You're different, but you're not really weird. You're called. You've got a great purpose. And I truly enjoy talking about this because in so many ways, it really relates to where I've seen my life before, especially growing up and going through different phases of my life. And so I can't wait to share this lesson with you. I'm excited to be here. So let's go through the channels. Facebook, good evening to you. Now I'm about to fuss Facebook, so let me just warn you. Y'all come to church, but y'all are notorious for not tagging people and inviting them to church. I need you to tag somebody Facebook this evening. Tag them and tell them to tune in. Invite them to church. Virtual service. I need you to go down your friends list, hit that @ symbol, and I want you to tag 5 people right now and tell them to tune in for what will be a very powerful message. I promise you, whoever you invite, they will not regret being a part of this conversation tonight. And I'm just grateful to bring it to you and grateful to be a part tonight and grateful you've tuned in. So again, good evening to you, Facebook. Make sure you say good evening as you come into the chat room area. But again, I want you to like this video. I need you to hit that share button, share it on your page. And then I need you to go in the comments right now and hit that @ symbol and start tagging some people and tell them to tune in. This is going to be a powerful message, a very powerful life study. And I'm excited to deal with part 2. Again, you're not weird, you're called. This is going to be powerful. And I'm grateful to have you with us tonight. Instagram, good evening. I see Elder Bissy tagging people like crazy. I love it. Good evening to you, Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. Instagram is our late church. They invite people when they come, but we just got to get them here first. But they're our late crowd, but so good to see you, Instagram. Those of you that are already tuned in, do me a favor, fill it up with hearts. Let me know that you're tuned in and that you're watching. And then I want you, as you're already doing, I want you to hit that @ symbol. I want you to begin to tag people and invite them tonight to tune in. And I promise it will be a blessing to someone. And finally, YouTube. Good evening to you. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, and many more of you tuned in via YouTube this Sunday, since this past Sunday, since we only streamed on Facebook and YouTube. But thank you so much for tuning in and for joining in with us tonight. If you're on YouTube, make sure you tag somebody as well and encourage them to tune in and be a part of this very powerful message tonight. Again, we're going to deal with part 2 of the series, and I'm excited. You're not weird, you're called. This is going to be great. And I'm excited to get into it. All right, y'all, I got 7:15. I was about a minute behind tonight, but I want to go ahead and get started. I got 7:15. I'm not going to run over tonight. I am slapping my hand. I'm not going to run over tonight. I'm going to try to keep us at a reasonable time tonight. But I can't wait to get into this message. And again, I've said this ad nauseum. This really strikes at my passion, not only just as a pastor, but really the things that I do in terms of counseling and coaching people. This is what I do for a living, and dealing with people's passions, their calling, and helping them to understand that they ain't weird. You ain't weird because you have a different purpose or a different passion, or you've got a different calling, or you see things differently. It's nothing wrong with you. It's probably something wrong with everybody else. And so I can't wait to get into this tonight and share it. All right. All right. So you got 15 seconds. Have you invited somebody? Have you liked the video? Have you filled it up with hearts, regardless of the network that you're on? Make sure you do that immediately. Because we're getting ready to dive into this, and I'm excited to bring it to you tonight. All right, so let's talk about this. You're not weird. You are called, and this again is part 2 of what will be, I believe, at least a 4 or 5 part series. And so I'm grateful to have you tuned in tonight. and thankful for your support. Let's get into it. So last week, I talked about the power of being different, right? We talked about this power that still exists and being different. And I want to just reiterate this point quickly tonight, that again, you should not, under any circumstances, feel like there's something wrong with you or something weird about you because you are different, because you see things in a different way. And the reality is, difference is really what strikes at the core of innovation. Difference is what strikes at the core of innovation. People who are doing innovative things are seeing things differently. And so when you see your life in a different way, or when you see life in general in a different way, or you see the things around you in a different way, it is natural for us in this society to then connect difference to weirdness. And there's nothing weird about you because you see things in a different way. What you have to do is be able to embrace the awkwardness of difference. All right. I want you to record that. And I know that's a long word. I want you to type it in. You have to embrace, in this season of your life, you have to embrace the awkwardness of difference, meaning that when you are truly flowing in a different state, in a different space, when you're really truly flowing in that, it's going to feel awkward initially for you. It's going to feel awkward for most people all the time, right? And you have to embrace that, because people who do innovative things, who do trailblazer-like things in spaces where others are not involved, in spaces where others have not tapped into, people who are innovators and trailblazers are not diving in common spaces. They are diving in spaces that not only makes people awkward, but sometimes when they get into it, it makes them awkward. And this isn't even in my notes, but let me just give you a bonus really quickly. One of the ways you're going to know you're chosen for real, one of the ways you're going to know you're called for real to do whatever it is that you're called or chosen to do, is when you start operating in that purpose, but it feels awkward to you. Okay, I'm going to say this again. You're going to know you are diving into your purpose. You're diving into your calling when you get into it, and initially it feels awkward to you. It initially feels awkward to you because, again, innovation, creativity, blazing different trails that have never been blazed before is often a category or a space that we deal with where, because you're out here on this island, I don't care how creative and how much of a visionary you are, it sometimes takes some adjustment just to get comfortable being in a different space, being in a space where you feel like you're on an island, you don't have an amen corner, nobody's supporting you, nobody quite gets you, but you know this is your purpose, you know this is where you've been called to be, and you have to get comfortable and settled there. That's a very awkward space if we could all be honest. So again, you'll know you're tapping into really this place that's called your season or your purpose when you can really embrace this space of awkwardness that generally comes when you are in the beginning of walking into what your purpose and your calling is. And again, I don't know about you all, but some of the most innovative people I know personally, are also some of the most awkward people I know. Okay, I want to say this again. Some of the most innovative people I know, people that are doing things in a phenomenal way in their purpose, are also some of the most awkward people I know. They're awkward. Like, they have awkward tendencies. They have awkward personalities sometimes. Sometimes they have awkward perspectives. Sometimes they have awkward approaches to work. I may have shared this before. I can't remember because sometimes my presentations all run together. But I want to just mention this. If I haven't, one person I would love to meet is Diddy. I would love to meet Diddy. The reason I would love to meet Diddy is because everything that I've read about him in magazines is that, in articles, is that he's an early riser. He gets up every morning, I think at like 3 or 3:30 in the morning. I like getting up early. But he has an incredible work ethic, and he's very awkward when it comes to working with him. I had a few students, or one student actually in particular, who was fortunate enough to have an internship with him and talked about just how awkward he is, right? How awkwardly he approaches his work and how different his perspective is. And people who don't understand, being a visionary or being an innovator will sometimes see those decisions he makes and some of the things that he did, and they would look at him like, dude, what are you doing? Right? And that's part of embracing the difference in who you are. And so again, if you're going to be innovative, if you're going to walk in your purpose for real, you got to get to a place where you're so comfortable in your own skin. And I know we talked about that last week, but it's important to reiterate. You're so comfortable in your own skin that you don't mind a season of awkwardness, a space that's temporary of awkwardness until the thing that you're called to, the thing that your purpose to fully develops. Remember what I told you last week, and it's worth mentioning again. When you're walking in your purpose and it's different for real, and it ain't a put on, because people be putting on like they different and really faking, and they really ain't different for real. I'm talking about when your purpose is really different, your calling is really sincere and unique. When you're walking in that space, it's not only going to make you uncomfortable, but it's guaranteed to make everybody else around you initially uncomfortable. So much so that most people won't understand you in the beginning. Most people, because they don't understand you, will criticize you in the beginning. But awkward people, people who walk in their purpose, who have a different perspective, a different purpose, they've been chosen in a different way, are typically misunderstood in the beginning and celebrated at the end. It never fails. You're typically misunderstood in the beginning, but you are celebrated at the end. And so you've got to go through a season of being misunderstood. If you're going to operate in the purpose, the calling, the plan, whatever you see your life a direction going into, go through the season of being misunderstood now, so that eventually you can be praised, celebrated, lifted up, admonished later on down the road. All right. And most people, again, they quit in the awkward phase. This is so good. Most people who are on the verge of creating great things quit in the awkward phase. Are y'all listening to me? Is it making sense? Fill it up with the hearts if it is. Let me know. Most people quit in the awkward phase. They quit in the phase where it doesn't make sense to other people. Now, you know your vision. You know your purpose. You know what you've been chosen to do, called to do, chosen to have, called to have, desire to have. You know your purpose. You know your desire. You know all of this stuff. But most people quit in that awkward phase. Why? Because most people naturally want to be received from the beginning. When you come up with an idea, when you have a desire, a heart's desire, your plan, your life, relationships, whatever, most people want to be received in the beginning. But what you don't realize is that when you got a purpose that's so unique, when you got a desire that's so unique, you can't expect everybody to understand you from the jump. It's just not going to happen. And again, if you're looking for validation, you're not looking for your purpose. That's good enough to record. If you are looking for validation, you're not looking for your purpose, because validation and your purpose cannot reside in the same space. I'm giving y'all nuggets, ain't even on my notes. Are you listening to me? If you're looking for validation, you're not looking for your purpose, because you can't look for both at the same time. You can't look for what you've been called to, and you can't look for people to praise you at the same time. You can't look for the direction you're heading in and look for people to validate you at the same time. You can't look for the direction that you know you should be proceeding in and look for people to encourage you and push you at the same. It does not work that way. You can't look for validation and purpose in the same space. When you understand that, then you choose one. You don't choose validation. You choose purpose and go after purpose and understand that it's better to be initially misunderstood and praised later than to be praised in the beginning and then be average later. And most people, good God from Zion, that really don't know their purpose are content with being praised in the beginning, failing to realize that they end up being average later. And I'm here to tell you, as an innovator, it's a person who likes to blaze trails and do stuff that other folk ain't doing. Let me tell you something. I'd rather you not understand me, not even like me in the beginning and praise me later, than to get me in the beginning and then I'd be average down the road. And that's the space you've got to be operating in, because again, validation and purpose can't live in the same space. This making sense to anybody? Is it making sense? Have you tagged anybody? Because this is what I want to start tonight. I want to give you 5 signs that you are chosen and called. I'm going to give you 5 signs, and I'm only going to get through sign 1 tonight because I've already given y'all a 12-minute monologue. I'm going to give you 5 signs to let you know you have been chosen and called. I didn't say this last week, but I want to share this with you. One of the things that I am asked commonly, whether it's counseling people in the religious space, actually counseling people in the non-religious space, in the business space. One of the questions that I get regularly is, Dr. Talley, Pastor Talley, whatever, how do you know you've been chosen to do something? How do you know you've been called to do something? Whether it's been chosen or called to do ministry, chosen or called to start your own business, chosen or called to, to do whatever, launch whatever, start whatever. How do you know you've been chosen or called to do something? And it's a powerful question. And so I'm going to give you 5 signs. These are going to be practical. And starting with this first one tonight, we jumping out the gate. All right, I'm going to give you 5 signs to let you know you are chosen and called. All right. And let's deal with sign number 1 tonight. Okay, let's deal with it. Sign number 1 to let you know you are chosen or called is this. You ready? Sign number 1 is this. You are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. You are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. Some of y'all saying, Pastor, make it make sense. You know I will. You are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. This is going to bless somebody. All right. You are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. This is sign number 1 that we're going to deal with tonight. Now, why is this important? This is important because when we think about crowds and when we think about boxes, there are some significant qualities that we need to consider. All right. Now, I'm going to give you some notes here. I want you to record this. There are blessings and curses to being in a crowd. I'm going to make some of y'all upset tonight. There are blessings and curses to being in a crowd, right? When you're in a crowd, you're never alone, right? So you got people around you, you got support, you're never on an island or a silo. So when you're in a crowd, you're never alone, but here's the problem. You're also an easy target. I'm about to make this make so much sense tonight. I could teach this for 3 hours tonight. I'm going to say this again. When you're in a crowd, you're never alone, but you're also an easy target. When you're in a crowd, you're never alone, but you're also an easy target. Now, I always think about this example, and I hate to make such a gruesome example, right? I almost hate to make such a gruesome example to explain this. But let me give you an example that really makes this make sense, right? Think about this. When you were growing up, and some of you are still, young now. A lot of us are still young now, but just think about when you were, say, like in high school, right? You were in high school and a fight broke out in the cafeteria. All right. Let's just say a fight broke out. No, this is a bad example. Let's say you were outside at a football game, right? And a fight broke out, say, by the concession stand, right? What happened when you were younger and that fight broke out at the concession stand? What did you do as a 9th grader, 10th grader, 8th grader, 7th grader? What did you do? Most of us ran toward where the fight was. Okay? Just bear with me. I'm going to make it make sense. Most of us ran toward where the fight was, and it's us. It was normally a crowd of people that ran to where the fight was, right? Would you all agree to that? Most of us did. Now, you ran to the crowd. Here's the problem. And think about this same example. You ran to the crowd, and let's just say, of the 2 people that are fighting, one of them pulls out a gun and starts shooting. Watch. If one of them pulls out a gun and starts shooting, Who's the target? Well, some of you are probably saying, Dr. Talley, the target is the person that he's fighting. It probably is the target. But what's the problem? The problem is there are now a crowd of people that have run towards the fight, that all of a sudden, if he doesn't have a perfect aim, if he misses his target, he or she, because I'm assuming it's a guy, he or she has a whole crowd of people that have now become easy targets. Can I help y'all? Some of y'all not going to get with this. Can I help some of y'all? While being in a crowd, it helps to ensure you're never alone. Here's the downside. When you're in a crowd, you become an easy target. And it is difficult to live a chosen and called purpose when you're an easy target. Man, this is good to me. Are y'all listening to the old man? See, this is why one thing that I learned about people that's chosen and called, let me tell you something. They don't mind hanging with people sometimes, but chosen and called people actually don't mind being by themselves sometimes. Because they understand that sometimes when you're in a crowd, stuff be happening to you that won't even intend it for you. Come on, talk to me, Zion. I'm Pastor trying to be cool tonight. Are y'all listening to me? Stuff be happening to people who are in crowds, and it ain't even intended for you. Think about how many people, and I hate to just use this is such a gruesome example, especially in the climate that we're in right now. This is such a gruesome example. But many of us probably even know people that got shot, and the bullets they won't even intend it for them. But because they were in a crowd, they played Russian roulette with their lives. And what was not meant for them ended up being targeted on them. Are y'all listening to me? And so if you live in a called and a purpose life, one of the things you got to think hard and long and strong about is just how comfortable you are in crowds. And this is a very important conversation that we need to be having with our young people. I know I have this conversation with Giselle and Four all the time. And I know we got some young parents, and many of you are trying more. You're more interested in being cool with your kids than being honest with them. And I'm already at 7 and 8 having conversations with Giselle and Four about if a crowd is running that way, go the opposite direction. Nothing seldom comes good out of following a crowd. Nothing. And I'm not very old. When I grew up, maybe when I was younger, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, seventh grade, of course, a fight happened, all the little kids run. Let me tell you something. By the time I got to my high school years where folks were shooting, that fight ran over there. I ran over there because I ain't trying to get hit by nobody's bullet, and I'm too cute to go to jail. I'm being honest with you. That ain't pastor's calling unless it's a Paul and Silas ministry. I'm in there, and I'm out of there. That ain't pastor's calling. And so I'm just here to say to you, you got to be careful with crowds. People embrace crowds because they feel like they've got support. But what they fail to realize, especially if you've got a calling or purpose, and again, let me just say this caveat again. I said it last week. I want to just make this crystal clear. When I say calling and purpose, I ain't talking about just preaching. We're talking about in general. You have a calling to start a business. You can have a purpose to start a nonprofit. You can have a purpose, to minister to battered women. Whatever your purpose and calling is, it's bigger than a pulpit. I don't just preach or teach church folks. So we ain't talking about just being called to preach, but it applies there too. When you have a calling or a purpose, you've got to understand that there's a downside to always needing to feel like you got to be in a crowd. Because if you feel like you got to be in a crowd, that's fine. You're going to have a little bit of support, but understand that what's meant for the group or somebody in the group could sometimes end up on your plate, right? So that's an example, again, of how being in a crowd is bad. Let me give you another one. Watch this. When you're in a crowd, you have surface support, but your validation is external. I'm going to explain this. When you're in a crowd, you have what I call surface support, but your validation is not internal, it's external. When you get comfortable running in crowds, or being connected to crowds, you have what I call surface support. What's surface support? That means people will support you from an exterior, but they really won't get down and deep into the depths of supporting you and engaging you. See, many of y'all find this out. Let me just give y'all an example that makes sense. Many of y'all find this out when you launch things on social media. Like, you be talking to people. Yeah, child. Y'all say, child. Yeah, child. I'm about to do this. I'm about to launch this business. I'm going to launch this. If I launch this, y'all going to support me. And the people in your crowd be like, yeah, girl, I got you. You launch the business, we're going to support you. I got you. I'm bringing everybody. I'm going to tag it. I'm going to share it everywhere. You launch the business, and how many people tag your stuff? About 3 people. You launch the business, how many people show up to your opening? About 20. You got 3,000 Facebook friends. You got 4,000 Instagram followers. You know what that means? That sometimes you can be in a crowd and you can be connected to a lot of people, but their support only goes as far as the surface. And see, this is why I wouldn't give a nickel for some of y'all that think having a lot of people around you means something. It don't. I'm here to tell you, sometimes when it comes to who's around you, less is more. I would far rather, y'all heard me say this a million times, I would far rather have 4 quarters in my pocket than to be trying to keep up with 100 pennies in my pocket. It ain't the same. And we are measuring support based on the size of the crowd around us. Or we're measuring support based on the amount of people around us. And that is not how you measure support. You do not measure support based on the number of people around you. You measure support based on the quality of the people around you. Can I give this word to y'all? Since you want something to be spiritual, let me give you a quick word for you. Watch. When you get serious about your purpose, God will connect you to people. I ain't saying a lot of people. I never said that. Hear me again. When you get serious about your calling, when you get serious about your purpose, when you get serious about starting that business, when you get serious about launching out and starting that initiative you've been putting off for years, when you get serious about going back to school and getting that degree, whatever your calling and purpose is, when you get serious about it, let me tell you what God does. God don't necessarily send you a whole lot of people, but he will send you the right people that will get behind you and help push you to where you need to be. I'm here to speak this into your life, that the minute you get serious about your calling and your purpose, expect people to come out of nowhere that you did not expect, from sources in directions you never expected, to come behind you and be the wind that pushes you towards the finish line. Listen, y'all, you don't need a lot of people. You just need the right people. Put it in the comments right now. You don't need a lot of people in your life. You need the right people. You don't need a lot of people in your life. You need the right people in your life. I'm here to tell you, my friends list be decreasing every year because I realize something. That I don't need a whole lot of people in my life. I don't want a lot of people in my life. I just need the right people in my life who can understand the purpose that I have on my life, the calling that I have on my life, the perspectives that I have, that will allow me to be who I am, and that will then be the wind behind me that pushes me when I'm discouraged or encourages me when I'm already encouraged. You don't need a lot of people in your life. You need the right people in your life. And I'm just telling y'all, because many of you have been grinding on your purpose. Let me come down your neighborhood right now. Many of you have been grinding on your purpose. And let me tell you what you've been paying attention to. You've been paying attention to the B clause or the B part of what I just said. When you're in crowds, you have surface support, but your validation is external. You know how you've been validating your purpose? You've been validating your purpose off likes. You didn't launch the business. You started the business. You opened your page on Facebook. You got 3,000 Facebook friends, but you ain't got but 30 people that like your business. And then you start questioning your business based on how many people like your page. Let me tell you something. Just because they ain't liking it, don't mean they ain't looking. That's a whole word. Let me tell you what I like about Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to free some of y'all. You know what Facebook and Instagram will show you? Yeah, it'll show you who like your stuff. It'll show you who hearts your stuff. But they'll also show you how many people viewing your stuff. And you know what I discovered about walking in your purpose? And when you walking in your purpose for real, your views will always be greater than your likes. Y'all not typing this in the comments. Listen to me. I just preached the whole word. When you walking in your purpose, your views will always be greater than your likes. And tell social media team, I got people, y'all see them that are moderating and, Pastor, how we can up this? We're doing fine. We don't have a lot of likes on our posts on Instagram. We don't have a lot of likes on our posts on Facebook. We got a whole lot of views. You know why? Because most people are more willing to watch you than they are willing to admit that they watching. Come on, Zion. I couldn't help it. I could not help it. Did you hear what I said? Most people are more willing to watch you than to admit they watching you. See, the view says, I'm watching you. The like says, I admit it. The view says they watching you. The love button says, I admit it. Just because they ain't liking you, don't mean they ain't watching you. I'm here to tell you. And so that's where being in a crowd messes many of you up. Many of you have businesses right now inside of you. Many of you have ideas inside of you. And the best thing you can say, I do coaching sessions all the time. You're going to hear more about that actually this week. Because people reach out, they want to be coached. And this is something that I do for pay. So y'all can talk about me all you want to. My time valuable. But I do coaching and mentoring. And let me tell you something. I tell my clients this all the time. Many of my clients have been on the fence about starting stuff. And sometimes the best explanation they can give me is, I don't think people going to like it. What you waiting on a like for? What you waiting on? If it's your purpose, why you need a like? And let me tell you why. Because most people with a crowd mentality thinks that validation comes from likes. Thinks from validation comes from share. Let me tell y'all something. I ain't crazy. The number of people that's watching me versus the number of people that actually admits they support me has never been the same. And I'm okay with that. Keep watching. Take some notes. Get your notepad out. Because it takes humility to not only watch somebody, it takes humility to press that like button, to press that love button, and to publicly say, I support you. To publicly say, I affirm you. And until people do that, you got to stop looking for validation from external sources. You have to. I'm going to put her on blast. I hope it don't make her uncomfortable. But I'll use Elder Missy Hood as an example. I'm so incredibly excited. And this ain't lip service. I've told her this privately, so I ain't doing this for show. She knows how I get down. I'm so incredibly excited and proud of Elder Misty. Many of you know, and I've talked about this before. I'm going to support my own if I don't support nobody else. I've said out loud just how proud of her I am for this cooking show that she has. And many times I can't even catch it live. But when I do see the post, I'll heart it or I like it. I get a couple of minutes, especially if I'm walking around the neighborhood. I'll pop up my headphones while I'm walking. And I sometimes can't even see what she's cooking because my phone is in my pocket. But I listen to the audio and listen to her go through her recipes and give people life advice. Let me tell you something. When I look at her views and I look at her likes, they ain't the same. But it don't mean she ain't effective. It don't mean she ain't reaching who she need to reach. Because I'm telling you, it takes humility to admit that you admire somebody. Somebody posted me, a colleague of mine, he's a preacher, a pastor in the city. He's a friend of mine, and he's a great guy. Even tagged me in a post yesterday, and I hearted and said, man, this is dope. You know why? Because it takes humility to admit that somebody does something that's pretty cool. And see, some of us are so arrogant and stuck on ourselves with our raggedy average ideas that we don't even want to support people and push them and promote them when we know they're doing great stuff. Listen, y'all, I learned a long time ago that when you're in an innovative space, you can't expect people to verbally say they support you. You can't expect people to verbally say they got you. People be privately talking about what you're doing and privately viewing your stuff. But it takes courage and humility to support people. And that's where an innovator or a called or a chosen person resides. We don't reside in a space of needing validation to be external. We don't care who's liking our stuff and who ain't liking. We pay less attention to the likes, and I pay more attention to the views. I'm going to put a video up tomorrow as my Wednesday word of the week. I don't be even looking at the likes. I had like 30 likes. I had like 2,000 views. You know why? Because there's a whole lot of people watching. And tomorrow I'm going to give y'all something to look at. Y'all listen to what I'm saying? Pastor, that's a little confident. What you expect me to be? I don't need none of y'all to validate me. You got to have that attitude too. You don't need nobody to validate you. When you know your purpose and your calling, you can post something that's inspirational, do something that's inspirational, start something that's inspirational, and get to a point where you post it and forget about it. That's where I am. I post stuff and half time I don't even check it again to the end of the day and be like, oh wow, a lot of people liked it. I ain't got time. I don't care if you like it or not. It's my post. It's my stuff. It's my calling. It's my purpose. It's my business. You got to look at your purpose the same way. Know what you've been called to do and quit looking for people to validate you. You don't need validation when you got a purpose. That making sense? I hope this has blessed somebody. Let me tell you this also about crowds, right? So we said in crowds, you're never alone, but you're easy target. We said in crowds, you have surface support, right? So it ain't really deep. It's on the edge. People don't go all the way in with you, right? They'll high five you, but they ain't really for you. Or they'll view you, but they don't really like you. And so then your validation is external. Here's another thing I want you to remember about crowds. You ready for this? When you're in a crowd, you're more likely to fail to groupthink versus individuality. You're more likely to fail to groupthink versus individuality. Y'all remember where I taught a lesson a few months ago on the danger of groupthink? Y'all remember that? I taught a message a few months ago on the danger of groupthink. What's groupthink? It's the herd mentality. It's when everybody thinks the same way, does the same way, does the same thing. And I'm telling y'all, one challenge to being an innovator and operating in your purpose is having a groupthink mentality. Well, because you're in a group of 5 people and 4 of them think a certain way, instead of you going with your real perspective, you go along with the crowd because you don't want to rattle the boat. You don't want to shake the ship. So instead of you being true to your perspective, true to your purpose, true to your calling, you decide to go with what the group says so that you don't rattle any boats. Let me tell y'all something about me. All right. And I got some leaders in training on call, board members. They'll tell you this, and I'm serious about this. When I form teams, I don't put people on the team that's just going to be like, yeah, Pastor, I like that. I like that, Pastor. Yeah, I do that too, Pastor. You know why? Because I don't need a bunch of yes people. I'm used to people in my life saying yeah because I said it. That don't grow me and it don't impress me. Corny stuff don't impress me. That's corny. That don't impress me. You know what grows me? When I have somebody on my team who don't quite see it like me and their perspective can stretch my own perspective. I tell my board all the time, I don't expect y'all to agree with me. I don't want you to agree with me. Hear what I'm saying. I appreciate the deference you give me as the leader and my vision and your support ultimately for the bid. But listen, if I'm coming with some ideas I'm presenting to y'all, shoot holes in it. That's what you need to do. And see, that's called creating organizations or having around you people who don't suffer from groupthink. And you cannot operate in your calling and purpose and have a groupthink mentality. Whatever the crowd says, I'll do it. Whatever everybody else wants to do, we can do it. Because some of y'all good for that. Well, that's fine. What you think, Sally, about this? Well, if everybody else want to do it, I want to do it. That's a groupthink mentality. And if you got a groupthink mentality, you can't have a calling. You can't have a purpose. Your purpose is limited to what the crowd says. If you got a groupthink mentality, your calling is limited to what the group says. And your reach will only be as great as the ideas of your group. I'm going to say it again. Your ideas, your reach will only be as great as the ideas of the group. You got to get out of this groupthink mentality. You got to get out of this mentality of expecting people to agree with you, understand you, see you on the same page, because that's not where innovation lives. That's not where purpose lives. That's not where having a calling lives. You got to grow the strength. You got to grow the intestinal fortitude to be willing to feel uncomfortable on an island, even when you're not understood. Right? And so again, when you have the groupthink mentality, you don't have an individual mind. And the minute you don't have an individual mind is the minute you don't have a real calling. You don't have a real purpose. So you don't do things that you're called to do or purpose to do because people understand it. You do it because you made up in your mind, this is what I've been called to do. So if everybody in your crew ain't going back to school, because all of them saying, I'm too old to go back to school, but you know your purpose, and part of your purpose is going back to school, regardless of how much you hate school, you don't put off school because everybody in your crew don't want to go to school. Very basic example, but catch the revelation. Stop living your life with a groupthink mentality. Stop. I knew you would like that, Nick. Stop. Y'all stop living that life with that mentality and understand that your perspective has to be of such that it don't matter what people think. Don't matter what people understand, right? All right. So again, we talked about sign number one, that you are chosen and called. You're completely uncomfortable with crowds. Here's the other part. You're completely uncomfortable with boxes. There are several different disadvantages of living your life in a box. Let me give you one or two, right? Several disadvantages of living your life in a box, because many of you are living boxed in, right? You're living boxed in and you're wondering why you're not really operating in your calling or operating in your purpose. Listen, boxes can contain you, but boxes will never help you grow. I'm gonna say it again. Boxes can contain you, but boxes were never designed to help you grow. That's in the physical sense. That's in the spiritual sense. That's in the sense of your purpose. It don't matter what sense you're in. A box does not grow with anything. Put anything in a box that grows, and eventually the thing that is growing is going to far outgrow the thing that it is in. And many of you are allowing yourselves to live in boxes, and you're wondering why your purpose ain't working. Your purpose and your calling can't work when your environment is not such of one that's free for you to grow, but your environment is a box of restrictions. Is this making sense to anybody tonight? So you got to get out of the box. You have to get out of the box. One, you can't let people put you in a box. And I know oftentimes we talk about boxes in the context of what people do. I can't let nobody box me in. I get you, and I'm with you. You shouldn't, right? Don't let anybody box you in, and I agree, right? So you can't let people put you in the box. But what I've discovered when I'm coaching people is that oftentimes it ain't people putting you in the box. Guess who it is? It's you putting yourself in the box. You put yourself in a box. And how do we put ourselves in a box? Well, we put ourselves in a box by creating limitations. We put ourselves in a box by creating excuses. I'm too old to do this. I'm too young to do this. I'm too old to have this. I'm too young to have this. I'm not smart enough to start this. I'm not wise enough to do this. I don't have enough resources. You ain't doing nothing but tightening the box. And you've got to get yourself out of the box, because the boxes people put you in will never compare to the boxes that most people put themselves in. Did y'all hear what I said? I'm giving y'all a free coaching session tonight. Listen to me. The boxes that people put you in will never compare to most of the boxes that most of us put ourselves in. You will always be your biggest threat to the box that you're in. So yeah, it's one thing not to let people put you in a box, but some of y'all got to stop this foolishness putting yourself in a box, creating all of these limitations out of the sky as to reasons why you can't be, and reasons why you can't become, and reasons why you can't do. No, loosen up the box and understand that boxes, you never were designed to grow with boxes. Boxes were meant to contain you. Boxes were meant to confine you. All right. So the first thing I want you to remember about boxes, and then the last and final thing I want you to remember, look how fast time really flew tonight. Final thing I want you to remember about boxes is this. Watch this. Boxes are designed to identify you. Boxes are designed to identify you. Any of you worked in a shoe business before? I was cleaning out my closet about 2 weeks ago because I purchased some things. And anytime I'm at a place now, I don't know if anybody else does this, but let me tell you, one of the many reasons why I'm blessed is anytime I get something, anything, money, whatever, I always turn around and give something away. See, I have learned that in order to receive new, you got to make room for it. This is a whole word by itself. Some of y'all want new money, but let me ask you something. Are you making room for the money to come? In other words, what you doing with the money you got? Have you used the money you have to be a blessing to somebody else? You want new clothes. Let me ask you a question. Have you taken the clothes you don't wear that still got the tags on them? Yeah, I know you paid $300 for the shoes, but you ain't wore the shoes but one time and you didn't have them for 4 years. Are you taking them shoes and giving them shoes away? If you want a pair of red bottoms, I'm trying to help some of y'all. See, the way I've learned to be blessed is to turn around and give out to make room to receive. So I was cleaning out my closet a few weeks ago because I had some things come. And when I did it, I was laughing at, the way I've got my closet kind of coded, because my shoes, for the most part, I've got some older shoes that are not in boxes, but for the most part, my shoes are in boxes. Why? Because I need to know what's in them. I got shoes that are several pairs of shoes that are the same brand, and sometimes they have identical boxes. And some of those boxes will have the style of the shoe on the outside. They will come with stickers that you can put on the outside so that you can identify it, right? And so that's helpful. But absent of that, you don't know what's in one box or the other. So what are boxes really to do? Why do shoes come in boxes? Not only to carry the shoes, that's a different word by itself, because some of y'all in boxes now, and all you doing is being carried and you ain't growing. I ain't got time to deal with y'all. That's another whole word. Because see, when you get comfortable in boxes, what ends up happening is the box you are in ends up carrying you instead of freeing you. And some of y'all need to get out the box so you can be free. You're welcome for that whole word. You need to get out of your box so you can be free. But boxes also label you. They identify you. And here's the problem. In the natural context of boxes in a closet with shoes, that makes perfect sense, because you can see what's in the box and you can know what you got. But in the context of your life, it's a disadvantage, because anytime people, situations, atmospheres, environments can label you, then who you are is limited to what the box says. Are y'all listening to me? Who you are, who you become in your life becomes limited to the label that's on the box that you're in. Man, this is a whole TED Talk. Y'all ain't even... Who you are becomes limited to the label that's on the box. And so if for nothing else, some of y'all need to get out of these boxes so you can change the narrative on your life. I ain't got no help, Elder Misty. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking in a black hole. Some of y'all need to get out of the box you're in so you can change the narrative of your life. For some of you, the label is connected to your family name. Nobody in your family has ever been successful. So here you are trying to be successful. And what do people do? That ain't nobody but a blank. They say your last name. They ain't nobody but a Martin or a Harrison or whatever. They ain't nobody but a Talley. They label you, and they automatically put a label on you to try to confine who you are and who you can become. And the best way to do it is to shake the box. Yeah, I'm a Talley, and I know people as a Talley have never done this, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. You got to shake the label that people try to put on you through boxes. You got to shake the label that people try to put on you when they try to confine who you are to a certain space or a certain calling or a certain purpose or a certain occupant. Nobody in our family has never done this, or nobody as young as you has ever done this, or nobody as old as you has never done this. These labels can come in all kinds of forms or capacities, but understand that labels, for real, straight up, labels are designed to try to keep you enclosed. They are designed to try to keep you under control. They are designed to keep you from really going after your purpose and calling. They are designed to keep you confined to never be great. And most people that put a label on you, they do it. Watch this. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. Most people who put a label on you, who tell you what you will never do, or try to label and confine who you are by trying to identify you, most people that do that because they in the same box themselves. They tell you you'll never be able to do it. You know why? Because deep down they want to do it and they wish they could do it. They'll tell you it don't make sense for you to have it because deep down inside they wish they could have it. I was having this conversation with somebody 3 weeks ago and I was laughing because I was telling them about some stuff that I got going on that I'm planning. And they were like, dude was like, bro, you really doing it, man. Like, do you realize how many people gonna really be hating on that? I said, yeah, I do. I said, but understand this, the same ones that's hating 9 times out of 10 be the same ones that be wishing they could do it themselves. I don't care nothing about that. And that's the mentality you gotta have. You really have to have a mentality where you do not allow labels to confine you, where you do not allow people's ideas for your reality to put you in a box. And when you do, when it comes to your purpose and your calling, the sky ain't the limit, the sky is the beginning. When you shake the labels in your life, that's good. I'm typing that right now. When you shake the labels in your life, the sky ain't the limit. The sky is the beginning. Did y'all hear what I said? The sky is not the limit. The sky is the beginning. And some of you are acting like the sky is the limit because people put a label that said, this is only as high as you can go. This is only as far. Nobody's ever created a business like this. Nobody's ever created a cooking show for vegans. Nobody's ever created a business for this population. Nobody's ever created a business selling this product. And so you heard all of this stuff and you took it in and digested it. And you didn't even realize that all these people were doing was just putting labels on who you could become. All these people were doing was just putting a label on how far you could go. And I'm here to tell you that you keep on listening to that noise and you will never go further than the box that you're in. You keep on listening to the noise that people put on you and you will never go further than the box you're in. This bless anybody tonight? I'm done. I got 8:04 and I lied. I went over. Did this bless anybody tonight? Do y'all see how passionate I am about calling and purpose? Man, I'm telling you, this is my life work. My life's work. This is going to sound so bad. It's going to sound bad. This is going to sound bad. I hope y'all understand. If you don't, oh well. This is going to sound really bad. My life's work is not to be a preacher. That's just part of my purpose. That's just part of my call. There are people that are preachers and pastors, and that's their life calling. And God bless them. Maybe that's what your calling is. That ain't my life's call. My life's calling is not to be a preacher and a pastor. My life's calling is to help people, regardless of all walks of life, figure out what their purpose is. That's what it is. And sometimes I use spiritual methods to do it. Sometimes I use common sense. And when you know what your purpose and calling is, for real, and you really begin to walk in that, I know that some of y'all think, oh, how ain't your purpose and calling your pastor? Because I said it ain't. Are y'all listening to me? I'm serious. That ain't my purpose is bigger than that. That's surface stuff. That's what the crowd likes. The crowd says you have to do this and do it this way, and this is your limit. But my purpose says, man, my purpose, there are people that have never set foot in a building, that are in a church building, that tune into this broadcast and be wanting to trying to figure out who God is because I taught them in a way that made sense. That's my purpose. You got to know what your purpose is and your calling is, and then don't let people label you. Start the business. Even if people don't understand it, start the business and don't let people label you with stuff like you can't, and label you with stuff like it don't make sense, and label you with stuff like I wouldn't do that if I was you. Of course they wouldn't, because they ain't who you are. They don't have your purpose. You got to know your purpose. You got to know your calling. You got to move accordingly, because a lot of you have missed great opportunities because you've been in a crowd and you've been in a box. Break from the crowd and the groupthink. Get out the box and the labels and the confinement that comes with that, and walk in your purpose. I'm done. Just bless anybody. I want to pray for you. Come on. Come on. want you to type in your prayer request right now. Y'all don't like this. I know that pastor thing just threw some of y'all off. I don't care. I meant what I said. My calling and purpose is way bigger than that. Most called preachers and pastors only reaching folk in a church. I'm trying to figure out how I can get people in a stadium somewhere. I'm serious. In a ballroom somewhere. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You better know your purpose and calling and walk in it. I'm so serious. Listen, type in your prayer request right now. You got a prayer request? I'm giving you 40 seconds. I'm over time. I did not mean to go over. I lied to y'all. I'm sorry. I'm over time. You got a prayer request? I want you to type it in the comments right now. Come on. If it's a request that we cannot see, you can email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org. You can email your prayer request and just put in the subject line prayer request. It'll come to me. And I'd be happy to pray over your prayer requests all week long. As you know, many of you know, I'm up every morning, 4:30 in the morning now. And I get up and the first thing that I do is I pray for you. I've been praying for everybody else. I have not prayed for myself in 6 weeks. Literally have not asked God for a single thing for me in 6 weeks. And I can't even count the number of blessings and open doors that have come to me in 6 weeks because I ain't been praying for nobody else but everybody else. It works, y'all. You want stuff to happen for you? Pray for somebody else. So even if you ain't got a prayer request, type in a prayer request for somebody else. Put somebody else in your prayer request. Put it in the comments. Send it to me. Inbox it to me. info@rehabcc.org. Put your prayer request there. But I'm here to tell you, God makes things happen for you when you start lifting up the needs for somebody else. Come on, y'all. You got 25 seconds. I need to see more comments. Good. I'm starting to see them come in. Thank you, Elder Missy, Sister Nikki. And we're certainly praying for Sister Michelle and her father. Please continue to keep her in prayer. Many of you have sick loved ones that are going through some very some very tough and grave situations right now. We are praying for you. We're praying for opportunities for all of you. I love that. Bookings and buckets. I like that. I'm certainly praying for those of you that are seeking God for new opportunities in your life, opportunities for your children, whatever the case may be. Healing, miracles, open doors. We're praying for those things. I want you to know I'm praying for that. Listen. As you're typing in your prayer request, after you type in your prayer request, I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign of faith. Let's touch and agree really quickly. I want to pray with you. Let's touch and agree really quickly. I want you to connect your hands as a sign, as a symbol of faith right now, because I want to pray for you concerning your prayer request right now as you are typing in your request, as people are typing in their requests, or even as you're watching the replay. As you're watching the replay, type in your request. I want you to connect hands like this as a sign, a symbol of faith. I always go back and watch the replay and read these prayer requests. Because I sincerely pray for you every single day. I don't just say it. I'm serious about this. And I really mean it. Connect your hands like this as a sign of faith. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for reminding us of just how important it is for us to walk in our purpose and calling, to go against the crowd in the box, and to be everything that you called us to be in the spaces that you called us to be into, so that we can be everything you called us to be and more. Give your people tonight, God, the courage to embrace the discomfort of awkwardness, to embrace the discomfort of not being understood or being different, so that they can walk in their true calling and purpose, not looking for validation, not looking for likes, shares, and affirmation, but knowing internally that they're walking in their purpose and their calling, and that they're making the true impact because they've connected to the purpose and calling that they plan for their lives. I pray now this special prayer for every prayer request that's come across the line, that God, you would answer the prayers of your people, that you would make ways, open doors as only you can. God, let this be a week that's filled with miracles, open doors, made ways, met needs, granted heart's desires, that God, you would literally open the windows of heaven, that you would pour out blessings, miracles, breakthroughs, healings, direction, guidance, miracles for your people like you absolutely never had before. God, this week, in fact, I believe this week to be a week that is filled with miracles, that's filled with manifested promises, manifested expectations, that in fact, the very things that we desire for our lives, that you're going to loosen those things up even more this week as we continue to trust you and depend on you. I thank you for these things, God. We believe you for a week filled with victory, and we count these things done in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, if you prayed with me, I want you to type in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. It is so. Come on, I want you to type it in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. Come on, type it in the comments quickly. It is so. If you prayed with me tonight, you prayed that prayer of faith, want you to type it in the comments. It is so. It is so. I'm here to tell you, God's going to answer prayers for you. He's going to make ways for you. He's going to open up doors for you. And all you need to realize is that every time you pray and say amen, you're simply saying it is so. Come on, type it in the comments. It is so. God's going to answer your prayers. He's going to make a way for you. He's going to meet needs like only he can. Listen, quickly, give me 30 seconds. I want to challenge you to sow a seed tonight. This message has blessed you. If this ministry has blessed you, you should see on your screen now 3 ways you can be a blessing and sow back into this ministry. So grateful for those of you that continue to give and support our ministry. And I want to just encourage you, frankly, to continue to support us. We're grateful for how you've sown seed into our ministry, and certainly pray that our ministry has been a blessing to you in a very tangible way, that you can see growth in your life and productivity in your life and open doors in your life as a result of tuning into this broadcast. And not only just tuning in, but being a financial supporter of our ministry. And we're very grateful for it. I want to challenge you to give tonight. You can give your tithes, your offering tonight in one of 3 ways. You can give via Cash App at $REHABCC Give. That's $REHABCC Give. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. Or you can give through your cell phone by simply texting the word Rehab Works. Text Rehab Works, 2 words is 1 word. Rehab Works to 88202. Text Rehab Works to 88202 and right to your cell phone. You'll see a prompt. Follow the prompts and you can give right from your cell phone device. Again, these 3 ways. You can give via Cash App, $REHABCC Give. That's $REHABCC Give. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org. Or you can give right from your cell phone by texting Rehab Works. Text Rehab Works to 88202 and right to your cell phone. You'll see prompts. You can follow those prompts and you can give right from your cell phone. Listen, I'm so excited for how you support our ministry. Continue to tune into our ministry. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video. Don't forget, First Sunday is coming up Sunday. It is Super Sunday for us. We always give a super seed at every first Sunday. And God is certainly blessing us tremendously because of that. And so I want to challenge you to give this Sunday, which is First Sunday, our Super Seed Sunday, and challenge you to not only be a tangible blessing, but tune in and share this broadcast. If you have not already, like this video, share this video, tag 5 people, tell them to tune in, especially if you know people that are struggling, trying to figure out their calling and purpose. You ought to share this video, and I promise you it's going to be a blessing to them in a tremendous way. All right, would you do that for me? Listen, I love you tonight. I'm praying for you. I want you to have an amazing week. I'm praying for you every single day this week, that God really continues to open up doors for you and make ways for you as only he can. And if nothing else fails, I plan to see you Sunday morning, 9:08 a.m. sharp, all of our networks, Sunday morning, for a very powerful word that I promise you is going to bless you in a tremendous way. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I want you to have a phenomenal and fantastic week. Peace and blessings. I'll see you Sunday at 9:08 a.m.
Thank you for watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful